Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time reviewing on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures. Now, as you know, the Saturday Morning Adventure series is meant to be Eric Burnham and his new attempt in doing the 1987 TMNT cartoon, and with issue 3 is meant to feature Casey Jones. And if you've watched the 87 cartoon, Casey was meant to be portrayed as a bit more like this sort of psychopathic nutjob, while the 2003 and 2012 one portrayed him a bit more normally. And the story starts off with a gang of criminals attempting to destroy a store, and we see a voice saying, "You just made a big mistake, punks. I love those M-brads. Where did this guy come from? If he doesn't get out of the way, he's in it for a beating." And of course, we meet Casey Jones saying, "That's what you think, lawbreaker. If that's how you want it. Oh, my hand! Like a brick wall. That's where you're wrong. A brick wall would go easy on you chums." So of course, after this, the three punks are now defeated, and we kind of see how, there's been power shortages and everything else going wrong. And we kind of see how one of the officers points to April when she shows up about these power cuts that's been happening. And we kind of see how April talks about her feelings about the officer. And we kind of see how the Turtles joke about being a therapist service. And we see how Donatello gets intel about what's been going on in the city and offers it to April. And we see Ralph saying, "You sent her on a wild goose chase, didn't you?" "Actually, no. To my surprise, the turtle computer really did find a pattern. And you just let April have it. It could be anything. You do remember the kind of weirdness that happens in the city, right?" And we kind of see how the Turtles decide to kind of make sure April's alright. And we see how after April does some investigating, she sees that Casey's now been superpowered. And we see how, they're finding the sort of energy source from what's been coming from. And we kind of see how, someone who jaywalked by mistake has to deal with Casey Jones. And we see how Leonardo and the others wonder what happened to him, and points out in the TCRI compound, we see how Casey tried to take a shortcut to chase some criminals. And we see how Professor McGuffin said, "Wait, you can't be out here. We're running an experiment. That can't be stopped." And this is Spider-Man 3 vibes. And we see how Casey becomes a super-powered vigilante now, and is using it to dish out all kinds of chaos. And we see how the Turtles have to deal with Casey while being sapped. And we see Leonardo being unable to kind of hit any dent on him. And we kind of see how he tries to kind of destroy the turtle van, thinking that it doesn't have a license or anything. And we see how April manages to kind of get Casey away from them, thinking that there's been a riot somewhere else. And so they have to kind of trace back their steps and go to TCRI, where Professor McGuffin has the antidote for them, but points out that it can only work before midnight. Otherwise, Casey might become permanent. So, of course, they decide to kind of look for Casey by doing a bat-like signal. And they meet him, saying, "That's because I was out cleaning up the street. Casey, in the flesh. And thank you for the Hopkins trip. I stopped a lot of crime." Don't tell me there actually was a riot. What a tangled web we leave. And we kind of see how Casey and both Leonardo duke out, the same with the other Turtles. And we kind of see how, they try to kind of take him down the best they can. And after this, they kind of figure out how to beat him. So, of course, we see how after Casey becomes almost too powered, April points out about using the energy in that from the town and the cities, and point out that he's also a lawbreaker, but of course realizes his mistakes. And after this, we kind of see how Splinter's now relieved that the city's now back to normal, and they don't have to deal with Casey being superpowered. And we see how Master Splinter joke about ordering April something other than pizza, a hero sandwich. And yeah, this is the story. So I think, in my opinion, issue 3 of the Saturday Morning Adventures TMNT comic isn't that bad. I think, yeah, keep in mind we've seen Casey like this before in the 1987 cartoon, and I get the point of his character was meant to joke about how dark and gritty the Mirage comics were, and again, the Mirage comics were the starting point. I feel, yeah, that the 1987 cartoon was being a bit more of a Saturday morning adventure one, while the 2003 cartoon was being a bit more respectful to the Mirage comics, while the 2012 one was more of a homepage. But I think this issue still deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.